Coming to you live from the Hatima Wastes, this is Optimal Play. I'm Brandon. It is another sweltering afternoon in Los Angeles, and so it seemed like another great day to stay indoors and play some solo games. And sip a hard seltzer. Cheers. Today I'm going to get back into Deck of Wonders. It is a solo card game. I don't know why I switched to the table view. There's not much to see. Pretty much the game is just a deck and some life trackers that you could also just use your phone for if you wanted. That's often what I do, so that literally it's just a stack of cards, and it's one of the better to go games, period, I think. Deck of Wonders is in a fantasy setting where fate is sort of personified, and her Deck of Wonders is up for grabs. It's out in the world to be fought over by these villains, and you're trying to stop them. I guess that makes you the hero. you're the player. Excuse me. It's designed by Dennis Furia and illustrated by Lauren Brown, who are both wonderful human beings that I had the pleasure to do some remote interviews, art reveals, and that sort of thing, kind of during the height of the pandemic, when this game first was crowdfunded, and it has an expansion coming up called Master of Treasures. Oh no, I'll pause the video at some point and confirm the name of it. I'm questioning whether that's it. But anyway, I'll circle back to that. That is coming to Kickstarter this August, and that put Deck of Wonders kind of back in my mind and back on my table. So what I'm about to play is actually the second boss, the second villain of Deck of Wonders. It has a legacy-like structure where you don't have to make any permanent changes to your game, although there are stickers if you want to use them. But you do open some envelopes sort of as you advance through the game. And I got through, you sort of fight each villain a few times to unlock its faded form and then defeat that to move on to the next villain. And I'm going to confess, I couldn't do it. The first boss, who is a very kind of simple beater of a scenario in this game, I must have tried 20 or so times, could not beat his faded form. Luckily 20 times didn't feel like that crazy, because once you kind of get the hang of this game, you can jam it out in 5 or 10 minutes. But so I tried a lot of times, and finally, I said, I'm going to move on to the next villain. So that brings me here, where this is my very first time playing against Aurora the Empath, and I am using, as always, when you construct the deck that you play with, I use her 28 cards, 4 copies of 7 each. I think that's right. And then there's a core set that you can deck build the other half of the deck with. And while you have access to all of it, it is sort of color-coded, and I'm using the ones that have the same color icon as her, which I think is sort of just the default setup, the default deck. The cards look kind of like this. They are double-sided. The reason you only need one deck in this card combat game is because both you and the villain draw from the same deck and use different sides of this card. And I don't know how well the details of this Lauren Brown art play on camera, but one of the really cool things about this is that the art features sort of 2 variations on the same thing, spell, minion, whatever it is. One that is sort of what it looks like when it is on your team, the good side, and the other sort of darker, more sinister, maybe scarier variation of the same thing for when the villain plays at it. So you place these cards either right side up or upside down, depending on who they belong to. And the rest of the game I'm just going to kind of fill in as we go. But I forgot one really the important thing that I love about this game is that it features fairies, and they are kind of the classic European traditional fairies, which ride on corgis. I don't actually have the fairy cavalry, pixie cavalry card in this deck to show you. But I'm a big corgi fan, and if you're a fan of the channel, you know that, and you know that on the stream deck I use over here when I'm filmed, I have installed a puppy button. I am going to press it. Puppy! This is Bender. He's a 15-week-old corgi puppy, and this is his second video. Hi, Bender. I woke him up from a nap. He's a little sleepy. It does destroy the magic of the pause button, but I also checked on the name of that Deck of Wonders expansion, while during the break, and it is Master of Dungeons. So look for Deck of Wonders Master of Dungeons on crowdfunding in August. Oh, Bender, I'm sorry, you're very sleepy. Bender would love if you would like and subscribe, and oh yeah, okay. Alright, I'll put you down, and I'm gonna play Deck of Wonders, okay? Alright, good dog, Bender. Oh, okay, alright, here you go. Whew. Okay, let's get to it. Okay, so this is gonna get puppy hair off the table here. We are going to start, as you always do, by drawing 4 cards. I'm going to take the first turn. The villain then, Aurora, will take a turn where she draws 3 cards. And otherwise it's a normal turn for her. And then back and forth, both I and Aurora will draw 1 card on each of our turns. We each have 30 health, but Aurora has a couple special abilities here, or one, I guess. Fueled by Rage. If Aurora starts her turn with less than 10 health, heal her back to 10 health. So she actually, you have to kind of finish her off in 1 10 or more health turn, it looks like. And then, the rest of her text here says to place all the feels, You Feel My Pain, and Aurora Faded Form legacy packs in the rules area. So each boss has some legacy packs that you open up if you accomplish kind of certain specific objectives. Like I glanced at them, one of them is to get her to 1 health and then have her heal back up to 10. So you accomplish those objectives, unlock her some extra cards that twist her scenario a little bit, and then eventually her faded form. You beat that, reach the 3rd boss is sort of the flow here. I don't have those envelopes on the table. I don't plan to be opening them on the video because I didn't want to spoil them, so that's something that you could do if you try this game out. Okay, so my cards are Giant Scarab. This is a minion, you can tell from the damage and health, the strength and health on the top, as well as a priority. It's a 2/4 with priority 2. We'll get to what priority is. Most of the player costs are to discard other cards from your hand. So this one actually discards a card as a cost and draws you a card when you play it. So it's not really a cost so much as it cycles a card from your hand, which there was another one of those in the kind of forest set for the first villain, and I really liked it actually, the ability to cycle out a card for a new one. Felt like more upside than downside. Okay, so we got Giant Scarab. We have the Pixie Archer, just a tiny little minion that says on play, deal 3 damage to the villain. The Attack Wasp, which costs a card and draws a card, similar to the Giant Scarab. And it says play it ready, so it's a 2/1, it's a little minion, but it can attack the turn that it's played. And the Hungry Mimic. This says may not attack, but it's a 4 attack, 1 health minion. So you put it out there and try to bait the villain into running a big minion into it looks like. Okay, so I'm not familiar with what this deck is capable of. So like when I mentioned that I was jamming out games in 5-10 minutes, it's because I was really familiar with sort of what the strategy was and could go fast. Here I'm having to slow down and think a little bit. Not knowing what the villain's capable of, I think I'm going to pass on this Hungry Mimic. I think I'm going to play another minion and cycle it out. So I'm going to play the Giant Scarab. It will interplay, I'm going to create a little more space for myself here. Interplay Exhausted, and I have to discard and draw cards. So I'm going to discard that Hungry Mimic and draw Mutiny, a spell that deals 2 damage to the villain for every villain minion in play. Ooh, that punishes the villain for having a lot of things in play. Very cool, but not very timely, right? Because obviously she doesn't have any minions in play. I think I would also just like to play the Attack Wasp, which similarly cycles a card, and it actually, it actually comes into play ready. So it can attack the turn it's played, and then I will attack. It has strength of 2, so it will do 2 damage to Aurora. I'm winning already. Okay, we'll ready these up and move into the villain's turn. She's going to draw 3 cards, and we're going to play them in a top row here in their upside down position. They are her own Hungry Mimic. For her, it's just a 4/1. It can attack. Yikes. We have a Vengeful Spirit that says destroy the highest health player minion. This is a spell, so it will have that effect and go away. This is something I didn't see in the first set at all. This has a minion on the player side and a spell on the villain side. That's cool. Okay, the highest health minion is going to be my Giant Scarab, so that's a shame. Those will both be destroyed. And her third card is Mutiny. On her side, it's deal 2 damage to the player for every player minion in play, so I'm going to take 2 damage. And it says draw 1. She draws again. Fearful Strike. Play onto a villain minion and draw 1, so she's going to do this again. The next time that minion deals damage, double the damage and discard this card. I don't think that's going to matter much here, but that could be real rough on a Hungry Mimic. And we have a Giant Scarab for her. Okay. That's just a 2/4 on the villain side. All right, so the Hungry Mimic. So what happens now, I would have to order my... she's going to attack my minions in order of priority. So one of the ways that I can manipulate her turns is by what the priorities are of the minions that I play. Right now I only have one minion. It's one priority, but that's not going to matter much. And then everything's going to attack, but I can also choose the order they attack in. There's no reason for me to let the Giant Scarab attack first so that the Hungry Mimic can hit me for 8. I definitely want them to attack in the current order. So when Hungry Mimic attacks, it's going to attack my Attack Wasp, which is a 2/1, and this essentially 8/1 with Fearful Strike. They will just kill each other. I am fine with that. Takes out 2 of her cards for my 1. Giant Scarab then is going to attack me for another 2, and that is the villain's turn. So I will draw 1 card now and figure out what I want to do with it. I drew Share Pain, which says, my house has a lot of cacti in the yards, and I've had a lot of cactus spines in my hands lately and doing some gardening, so I am feeling the pain from this. Deal 3 damage to the villain and 1 damage to the player, and it shows someone trying to pick up a cactus. On the villain side, shows that cactus smacking someone in the face. That's too real. Okay. Honestly, that is not the vibe I want right now. I think maybe the strategy in Aurora is to save up a few cards like this in hand that you can drop for that final 10, but I think I would cycle this out if I have the opportunity. What I do think I will play is Sensory Overload. This says deal 3 damage to the player, so it's dealing 3 to myself. But draw 2 cards. Worth doing, I think. Those are a Vengeful Spirit, just a 2/2 minion, and another Pixie Archer. So right now she has this 2/4 Giant Scarab, and I don't have a solution for it. But if I play these Pixie Archers, they block the Scarab and they deal 3 damage to the villain with each one that I play. That feels pretty good, I guess. I can throw down the Vengeful Spirit too, but then it is the highest priority and just gets popped instead of one of these. So I might just keep it in hand until I can create a little bit more of a plan here. So I will play Pixie Archer. If her arrow doesn't hit you, then she wasn't shooting at you. These all have kind of 2-halved flavor texts for the top and bottom. I like it. Okay, so this is just a 1/2 minion. Play, deal 3 damage to the villain, and that's going to take Aurora to 25. And I'm going to play a second one to take her to 22. These both entered play, exhausted. And that's all that I am going to do this turn. So, well, maybe I do just want the Vengeful Spirit also, which would take the attack from the Giant Scarab, but would then, then I'd have 2 minions in play to attack next turn. Sure, let's actually do that. I'm sorry, I'm readying those for the end of my turn, but I'm also going to play this Vengeful Spirit, which is simply a 2/2 minion with 2 priority. And everything's ready. Aurora's turn. A Desert Troll. It's a 4/4 minion, and when you ready this minion, deal 2 damage to the villain, unless it would destroy them. Oh, it's a giant minion, but its trade-off is that it hurts her. Okay. I don't know how I'm going to get through these 4 health minions right now. I don't have a plan, but at least I have minions that can chump block. It doesn't particularly matter the order that they attack, so I'm just going to go ahead and resolve their attacks. The Giant Scarab is going to attack the Vengeful Spirit, do 2 damage to it, defeat it. The The spirit damage of 2 back to the giant scarab isn't enough to defeat it. Damage does not stick around between turns, so I don't have to track it or anything. The desert troll will attack my pixie archer. So I've blocked all that damage, and then at the end of her turn, when they're ready, the troll does 2 damage to her. She's at 20. I have so little sense of how this is going. The problem is, even though I'm like winning in the health total, that 10 health kind of barrier you have to cross, I don't have a plan there yet. But I am drawing my own card. Mutiny. Deal 2 damage to the villain for every villain minion in play. Woof. Okay. This is going to start to hurt. I don't think there's any reason to play this now. It doesn't save me, or it doesn't like really help me fight, take control of the board, I should say. And if I hold on to it and she plays another minion, it's just more powerful on the next turn. So I think I am just going to attack her for 1 with Pixie Archer, putting her at 19, and that's my whole turn. And then on her turn, she's going to draw Sensory Overload. What does this do for her? Deal 3 damage to the villain and draw 2, but ignore draw effects. Okay, so it can't cause a huge chain, but she's going to take 3 damage. She's at 16, and we'll draw 2 more. Okay, those are going to be a Vengeful Spirit. Oh, this is a spell for her. Destroy the highest health player minion. Oh no, that means the Desert Troll is going to get through. This is going to hurt. Her other card is a, what does this say? Gnomish Negotiator with a G. Negotiator spelled with a GN. Cheers, Dennis. I like it, actually. Okay, on the villain side, this says, it's a 1/2 with Taunt, so you have to attack it before other things. And it says on play, draw 1, but my understanding is that gets ignored in the context in which we're drawing it. The problem is, they're now going to attack me for 7, putting me from 23 to 16. We're tied at 16, but the board is obviously under her control. It's not great. Okay, my card is a Vengeful Spirit. Well, it can at least just get the Negotiator off the table. Yeah, I think all I can try to do is stop the bleeding here. So I'll play the Vengeful Spirit, pass the turn. She is going to draw Sensory Overload. She's going to take another 3 damage. She's at 13. We're starting to get to where if she has a lot of minions in play, a Mutiny could maybe just close this out. But we will see. The Sensory Overload, deal 3 damage to the villain and draw 2 more cards, ignoring their draw abilities. So it's a Giant Scarab and Sleep. Turn a player minion from ready to exhausted and draw a card. That won't. So that exhausts the Vengeful Spirit. That Cullen, the first villain, didn't have any effects like that in his deck, and now I'm not sure off the top of my head whether the villain attacks my exhausted minion or just attacks past it and hits my face. I would actually like it to attack my minion here, I think, rather than deal me 1,000,000 damage, but I'm going to hit the pause button and double check. Okay, the rules did not say anything about it needing to be ready to be an attack target. So I get to draw the battle lines here before the villain attacks, and the main thing that will matter is... Actually, no, this matters quite a bit. So if I order it like this, they're going to attack my leftmost minion, and I have to order them by priority, so leftmost is not necessarily up to me, but they're going to attack, and they will all attack it as long as they can collectively destroy it, which they can here, and then they'll attack my face. So the Negotiator is a 1/2. It's going to attack into my 2/2, and it just dies. It basically suicides because I'm smarter than the villain. Next, the Desert Troll. So that 1 damage does stay on the Vengeful Spirit, so 1 more would finish it off this turn. Desert Troll deals 4 to it, more than finishing it off. But I didn't take that 4 damage, and I got her minion off the table, which I would win if I had left that on the table and like drew another Mutiny or damage card. I actually wonder if that was a misplay. I'm not going to go back. But if I draw a card where I could then just play the spells that close it out, yeah, I wonder if I will have regrets. Let's see. The Giant Scarabs are just hitting me for 2 each, taking me from 16 to 12. They will all ready. The Desert Troll deals 2 to her when it readies. She's at 11. Wow, I already The Mutiny deals 2 damage to the villain for every villain minion in play, and Share Pain deals 3 damage to the villain. If I had actually, wow, if I had left the Gnomish Negotiator in play, I would win. But this is my blind play of this. I don't like to like do a bunch of retcons and like be like, I should have known. I just kind of like to hold myself to my mistakes and learn from them. So I'm not gonna go back, even though that was winnable. Let's see if I still pull it off. Here's my draw. It's a Pixie Archer. I think this makes up for it. Pixie Archer. On play, deal 3 damage to the villain. She's at 8. Share Pain. Deal 3 damage to the villain and 1 damage to the player. She's at 5, and I'm at 11. And Mutiny. Deal 2 damage to the villain for every villain minion in play. That takes her from 5 to 0. Wow, this felt... I like my solo and co-op games difficult, so even though I eventually gave up on the fated form of the first villain, I was like really enjoying that it was very difficult and it took a lot of tries, so part of me is slightly disappointed that this went so smoothly, but also, this was without opening any of her legacy packs, so I'm going to get to do that going forward when I meet those objectives. And also, it is nice to, after trying so hard and giving up on the last one, it is nice to have pulled off a win here. So, yeah, that's Deck of Wonders. It is going to be back on crowdfunding this August 2024, I think right around August 1st, with that Master of Dungeons expansion. I know it adds a treasure card type. Right now there's really just 2 card types, I think. They are minions and spells. So excited to see what that does. Excited to see more of this gorgeous art and super quick, fun, portable solo game. So thank you for watching. I think that I am going to open up the 3rd villain and take a look at that too. I haven't decided. I think I want to do one more quick video of this to go up during its crowdfunding. And I haven't really decided how best to approach that yet. Do I just spoil some more of the content, or what? We'll see. Keep an eye on the channel. Subscribe if you would, and I'll be back to play more Deck of Wonders. I'm trying to do more solo videos, so I'll be back to play other solo games as well. And as we always do, I'll be having friends on to play all sorts of multiplayer games. We've been playing Arcs. I think we're planning to play Street Masters soon. Checking out some print and play roll and writes lately. We're all over the place. A huge variety of stuff happening at Optimal Play. So please subscribe and join us for some of those. And until next time, be optimal.